Do you want to know what I figured out yesterday?
What?
I look really fucking innocent.
Do you?
Yeah, because I went into H&M, and you know how sometimes they've got security tags on their clothing?
Yeah.
So when I went to pay, they hadn't taken it off. So when I walked out, the alarms went, and the guy just took the bag away from me. He didn't even look at the receipt. He took the security tag off of the thing and gave it back to me and said I could go.
Yeah.
And then it went off again because there was one on another item of clothing. So they just took that off and they said sorry and they let me on my way. They didn't look at the receipt to see if I'd actually paid for any of the shit. I could have easily just shoplifted from there. They would have taken the security tags off of them, not off of me. Oh, I spent 40 quid for no reason.
Really?
I could have got that shit for free.
God, right.
But how innocent must I look that they don't, after the second time the alarm goes, they still don't check the receipts and check if I've actually stolen anything. Yeah. It's not like they didn't even like wave the bag or the items in front of the alarms, because that's what they usually do. They just took it away and took the tags off. So I could have easily had an item on my person that they didn't know of.
Yeah. They clearly don't know you then.
Yeah, because I love to shoplift.
Yeah. That's all I know you for, so...
Yeah, that's why I have so much shit. I can't afford it. I shoplift it.
I'm not sure if you saw it, but it's going around on Facebook.
I just love the ha! And then...
you know Philip Schofield on This Morning?
Yeah.
They had a shoplifter on, talking about her shoplifting exploits, and then they went on to a bit where they're doing a thing about some kind of thing they're selling or some kind of technology thing. He said there and then to Stone, "Oh, you better keep your hands off those."
Well, she is a shoplifter. She has. She's done it before, so you'd assume she'd do it again.
And the way he delivered it was just so brutal.
I don't really watch This Morning.
I don't either, but it was on Facebook. I don't mind Philip Schofield.
I haven't really paid attention to him because I don't watch any of the shows he's on.
There's some good bloopers from.
But he looks really old. How old is he?
He's not that old. He's got grey hair.
He had grey hair since he was like 5.
Yeah, he's got grey hair, but his face looks quite young, relatively. That's the weird thing about him.
I don't know. I haven't. Like I said, I don't really look at him.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's do murder.
Okay. Literally.
Maybe we'll talk about it first, and then we'll go off and do it later. Laterwards. That's it. Yeah. Laterwards. That's a new word.
Yeah. And because we're in the same room, we can go straight off.
Yeah.
And do it.
We'll go Wagamamas and deal with Trevor.
Yeah. We can't kill Trevor though. We could. That's I don't want to get involved. Yeah, he does a good
chicken katsu. I don't think we should kill him. Who doesn't love Trevor's chicken katsu?
Yeah.
I still can't believe you'd never gone to Wagamama's until we took you the other week.
I always thought it was sushi, so I'd always avoided it like the plague.
So you thought Wagamama's was like your sushi?
Yeah. Well, that's what someone had told me.
Matt, you're friends with me, and you know I don't eat seafood, yet I love Wagamama's. Did you not think, No.
No. To be honest, I never really cared that much.
Oh, thanks. You didn't care about my eating habits?
No, I just didn't care what Wagamama's did. I just thought it had sushi, so I just thought...
But now you do, because you liked it.
Yeah, so...
Good food.
Yeah.
So, Wagamama's pay us for this advert.
Yeah.
Please, our 5 listeners will most certainly go off to Wagamama's because of this.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm Tarmin.
And I'm Matt.
And this is the Dork Seduction. And Matt, you say it this time.
And this is the Dork Seduction.
No, I meant intro music.
Oh, intro music.
Intro music.
Now.
Welcome to the Dork Seduction podcast, where we talk about stuff.
I'm just going to repeat everything you say.
Fuck off.
Fuck off.
Tarmin's a big hairy baboon.
Tarmin's a big hairy baboon. Did you really think I wasn't going to repeat that? What are we, 5?
Yeah.
Anyway, what are we doing this week, Matthew?
We are doing Dr. Crippen. Well, not literally doing Dr. Crippen.
I thought it was called Dr. Chipman. So I think I mixed him and Howard Shipman together.
Yeah. God, that would be like... That'd be hybrid murder. That'd be great. It would be brilliant if he did work in a fish and chip shop as well.
Pardon?
It'd be great if he worked in a fish and chip shop as well.
That's true. Yeah, well, to be fair, Dr. Crippen doesn't seem that brutal, to be honest. Not as bad as Shipman.
He only murdered one person, or...
Well, supposedly murdered one person.
But we'll come on to that later, because...
Yes.
You know...
Even though that's the only reason we know of him.
Yeah.
or you know of him, because I didn't really know much, and I was ashamed. I was ashamed about that. There was a murderer that I didn't know about.
And you live right next to where he lived, basically.
Yeah.
Well, where he murdered as well, apparently.
That, and he was a murderer, so I should know of him. I think I'd heard the name, just never really looked into it. I'm more into...
He's in Madame Tussauds as well.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he got quite famous because of it all. Well, a lot of killers do, but he got, for the time, quite famous.
Really? But he only killed the one.
Yeah,
it feels like the Megan Fox syndrome.
It's the way that, because, well, might be getting a bit too early there, but he dismembered his wife was found dismembered, or so we think.
Someone was found dismembered.
Yeah, someone.
Someone's torso was found.
But that's got to wait for later.
Yeah, everything has got to wait for later.
Yeah. So, right, let me find where I've got to start so I can give you a little bit of detail about this.
Yes, so Matt is going to lecture us for the time being.
Yeah, there's no need to sound quite so down about that.
Yeah, so I'm going to be silent for the next 10 minutes.
And no need.
Pardon?
Get your pillows out and get ready for a good night's sleep.
Yeah, that's why we start this so late, so I can take a nap after you're done talking.
Yeah. Okay.
Or while you're talking.
Right, do interrupt me if you think this is going on too long. It's just that...
Oh, don't worry, I always do.
Okay. Right, Crippen was born in America, and he ironically studied to be a homeopathic doctor. The reason why I say it's ironic is the idea that there's actually any science to homeopathy, but that's another episode.
Yeah, but that was like the early 1900s.
Well, late 1890s.
1890s, so it was scientific for them.
Not really.
Well, it was different. It was new.
Well, it was about 200 years old at that point. So
at least he was doing something.
I suppose. Well, we'll get on to that later. His first marriage had been a rather unhappy affair, as she was a strict Catholic and he wasn't, so there's obviously a bit of disparity there. She died, I believe, while in childbirth of a stroke.
I don't think it was during childbirth.
Well,
I thought he died. I thought she died when the child was 2.
No, he'd had one child, and a documentary I watched said that she'd fallen pregnant with another one, and that she died of a stroke during the childbirth.
Okay. Well, lucky he was a homeopathic doctor then.
Yeah, because that really helped her.
Yeah, I'm sure he was helpful during that labour.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that she died, I mean...
Yeah, I think that shows
he did a good
him
job
demonstrating his skills, really, to be honest.
Yeah, he sent the son off to live with his grandparents, and Crippen himself moved to New York, where he began his homeopathic practice. In 1894, he married his second wife, who would be the woman who'd make him famous. Her real name is Kungu... Oh, no, I can't say that.
I've got it somewhere. Wait, let me try and say it.
It is a weird name, isn't it?
Corinne Turner.
No, not her actual real name.
Kunigund.
Kunigund, yeah, Kunigund. It looks like uncle of mine. I've written it. Yeah, so Kunigund Makamotsky, who called herself Corinne Turner, or Cora, as she preferred to be known.
And also Belle Amour. Elmore.
That was her stage name, though, wasn't it, I think?
Yeah, I know, but it's still the same thing.
Yeah, so she had lots of names. She longed to be either like an operatic singer or a musical singer, and those are the kind of like circles she kind of hang around in. It's said that like her ambition kind of didn't really match her talent, though. They say that she wasn't really that talented, so she was never really going to make it.
Of course she wasn't, because she didn't have a Wikipedia page, and everyone knows you only get a Wikipedia page when you're talented or successful.
Yeah, so clearly she was rubbish at that. Then.
Yeah. It also explains why we don't have a Wikipedia page.
Yeah. I mean, we deserve one, but, you know...
Yeah, at this point, we've been doing this for a few months now. I think we deserve one.
I mean, that's what we're after, really, isn't it? Fame,
yeah, we
glory.
don't want money. We want a Wikipedia page dedicated to us.
We just want people to bow down to us, basically.
Okay, look, we chilled out with the, taking over the world thing.
Yeah.
We need to give them some security and not mention it for a while. Okay. And then we'll take over once they're comfortable with us.
Let's not mention the N-word.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately for Crippen, America was in the grips of an economic depression through the 1890s. So this meant he had to move to England. However, the skills he'd learned in America didn't allow him to qualify to be a doctor in the UK. This meant that he had to take up work as...
That just shows he's not a real doctor.
Pretty much, yeah. That's the...
Because, to be honest, it feels like we let anyone be doctors nowadays.
I don't know. You have to go through, 7 years to be a doctor.
Yeah, but I've met a few doctors. They don't seem too bright.
I don't know. I think it's the fact they're so rushed these days, and the fact they don't work weekends means they have to fit in a whole load of doctoring during the week. Doctoring's not the right word, is it?
Doctoring. It's practising medicine, mate.
Yeah.
But I don't like doctors anyway, so let's... Yeah.
So basically, he had to take on work doing patent medicine, which is basically, it's the homeopathic medicine. It's where there's pertains to a cure something, but doesn't. So, and some of this was rather kind of on the dodgy side of law, I think. It also meant that his income was rather meagre, so he kind of had to start getting lodgers to live in his house.
Lodgers that his wife would do favours for?
Yes.
I do know some things.
Yeah, because, initially the marriage had been relatively happy until he moved to England, where... Obviously, the fact that the income was poor probably led to strains in the marriage.
Oh, I thought she was having affairs even when they were in New York.
Yeah, I wasn't clear about that or not.
Okay.
But that probably put a strain on the marriage as well, if it did happen. So they lived in numerous addresses around London for a little while before they finally moved into 39 Hilldrop Crescent, Camden Road in Holloway, London.
My town.
Yeah.
Well, not really, but...
Is it right next to it, Holloway?
Yeah, it's right next to it.
And basically, this was the house that would become famous 5 years later.
We should go there next time we're in London.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's still there, because they sometimes...
Yeah, because, they demolish murderers' houses, don't they? Like, Fred and Rose West's house is gone.
10 Rillington Place is gone, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, Cora Crippen did eventually move over to England with Crippen, but she still wanted to be, the musical star, and that's where she integrated herself with a lot of the other stars of the time. Well, not stars exactly, but people who are
they're like the ones that sing in clubs and things. They're not stars. They're people that you might know of, like people that have a few hundred likes on Facebook.
Yeah.
But not because they didn't have Facebook back then.
Yeah.
But it's on the same level.
Yeah, one of those, music hall was very popular at that time, but...
Yeah, that's all they have, though, for entertainment.
But I think even then it was still seen as being for, the working classes.
Yeah.
There was a bit of snobbery about it, whereas theatre was for, the posh people and stuff like that. But she remained pretty unsuccessful. Crippen even tried to support his wife's career by becoming her acting manager, this whilst still holding his job as a patent medicine distributor.
To be fair, he does seem like a good husband.
Yeah, he seems like a relatively calm, mild-mannered person.
Yeah, he supported his wife's ambitions. The first wife he married even though she was a strict Catholic.
Yeah.
And they didn't have the same ideology. So he seems like a good wife. Good husband.
This, however, led to his firing, this being her manager, because he was spending more time on her career than his own. So this obviously meant for a while income was going to be a bit strained. He eventually became manager of an institution for the deaf, and this is where he met Ethel Leneve, who was a young typist, and she was going to eventually become his mistress.
Spoiler alert!
Yeah, but you're going to find that out anyway.
I already knew, don't worry.
Yeah, stop interrupting.
Fine, put the listeners to sleep, I don't care.
Fuck off. Cora cuckolded him with one of the lodgers that had moved in, and in turn he took Ethel on as his mistress in 1908. See, you weren't going to find out in very
Cora
long.
seems like a major bitch.
Yeah, well, I'm going to come on to this. She had a big reputation for having affairs, even with her friends. She wasn't secretive about this. She also had a reputation for bullying him and belittling him in front of their friends.
I feel for Crippen.
Yeah, and she was also known for her heavy drinking. So basically, she seems like someone who's quite miserable because she hadn't achieved her ambitions. And, you know, I can sympathise with that a bit, but doesn't mean
she's like a less successful 1900s version of Lindsay Lohan.
Yeah.
Except with the no success. Not even just less successful, no success.
Basically, she took it out on him, which feels a bit harsh. He did do quite a lot to try and support her. But this now we moved to 1910, which is going to become a big year for Crippen.
It's going to become the last year for Crippen as well.
Yeah, true. It all happens quite quickly. That's what I've
It really does. That's what I love. Like, I say I love it, but the justice system back then, yes, it was wrong all the time, but it was very fast.
Yeah. It's like I mean, how many people you got on death row in America that have been there for like 20,
and it takes them at
years?
least 10 years because they keep protesting it and they can't do it if they file another appeal. I'm sorry, if you're guilty, you're found guilty, come on, just deal with it, do your time. And even just getting to the sentencing bit takes months or years.
Yeah. So, right, the Crippens held a party on the night of the January 31st, 1910, after which Mrs. Crippen had reprimanded her husband for the way he'd acted towards the guests. Now, he'd probably just been slightly quiet or sullen with them. Probably hadn't actually done anything that much wrong. This was proved to be her last known appearance. From then on, Dr. Crippen would tell people that she'd returned to the United States, I think to look after like a relative or to visit a relative who's unwell. He would later add to this story that she'd died and been cremated while out there.
Hold on a second, right?
Yeah.
Why would he tell that lie? Because that doesn't seem very believable. She seems really, really selfish. I don't think she'd go to take care of an elderly relative or whatever.
Yeah.
Or an ill relative.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's to take care, but he general like visit. That's still.
I still think she's too selfish to do that.
Yeah, I mean that is does feel a bit like a kind of made up excuse.
Yeah, people should have been like more suspicious about it when he started telling that story.
Well, there were some people who were suspicious, but it wasn't until June that this matter began to be investigated because of two of the musical friends of his wife. So there was Lily Hawthorne, I think it is.
Yeah, Hawthorne.
Yeah, and her husband, John Nash, were friends with
someone from Scotland Yard.
Yeah, someone from Scotland Yard. So the house was searched, and Crippen was interviewed by Chief Inspector Walter Dew, who, interestingly, he'd been a detective constable investigating the Ripper murders. So
so he didn't find out the truth there either.
No, so he's got a bit of history here, but we'll come on to that later.
Ooh, okay, ominous.
Because I've got a little bit of an idea about that. Or, well, other people have had ideas about that. Here, Crippen confessed that he had fabricated a story about his wife having died. He explained that he made this story up in order to avoid personal embarrassment because she had, in fact, left him and fled to America with one of her lovers.
Which is more believable.
Yeah. A musical actor named Bruce Miller. This, at first, was enough to satisfy Chief Inspector Dew. However, he apparently did have second thoughts about this and decided to investigate a little bit more. However, Crippen and Leneve had clearly fled in panic, and they firstly went to Paris and then Brussels, and then before boarding the SS Montrose, which set sail for Canada.
And they travelled first class, didn't they?
Yeah, interesting. They travelled as under fake name.
Oh, yeah.
I forgot, it's something like John Robinson or something, but...
and then she played his son or something.
Yeah, but it's rather funny, they were caught. The captain apparently caught them kissing underneath a lifeboat or something like that. And someone just said that's not the kind of thing a father and son does. I was like, yeah, for sure.
And shouldn't there have been... Because homosexuality was outlawed.
Yeah.
And that's... a man and a child, first a boy, which is homosexuality plus incest.
Yeah.
Shouldn't have kicked up a ruckus while on the boat, or did they really not give a shit?
I think the captain was suspicious already because she was obviously attempting to dress as his son, but he said it was rather obvious that she was female because, well, first she had unusually broad hips for a male.
And I'm assuming she has boobies?
You can disguise that.
Yeah, you can bandage them down.
Yeah, that might possibly be what happened. So yeah, this guy, captain, I forget what his name was now. Actually, Henry Kendall. That's it.
Oh, Henry George Kendall.
Yeah, he wasn't totally sure it was them, but he was really. He did have a strong kind of suspicion that they were.
But then that tells you something. Like, the news travels worldwide and fast in 1910. This must have been a big deal.
Well, yeah, I mean, it was quite a public thing. It did capture the public.
Was this after the body had been found? Well, the torso had been found.
They'd gone before the body was found.
Yeah, because they searched afterwards, but were they caught after the torso was found?
Yeah, they were caught after the torso was found.
Okay, because that would make more sense why everyone had heard about it.
And what makes this case kind of a little bit more interesting, it's not in terms of now, but it's the first time a wireless telegram had been used at the time.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool.
And so, yeah, basically, the captain of the ship was able to keep in contact with the police. Obviously, not as fast as we would be able to today, but he was able to alert the authorities in England that he suspected they were on the boat. And
then Canada was still part of the British Empire, so they could just hand them over.
Yeah, well, that's what I was interested. According to the Wikipedia article, they say, had Crippen and Ethel gone to America, it would have been a lot harder to get them back.
Yeah, because that's not part of the British Empire.
Yeah.
They'd have to go for extradition, and that could easily be refused because Crippen is an American citizen.
Yeah. So
they don't hand him over easily.
Yeah, I was thinking, why didn't he go to America? I would have thought
maybe they were going to go through Canada to America. Because he is American, so I'm assuming people would assume that he'd go back to America directly.
Possibly.
Which is probably why he avoided it. That's why he went through Brussels and then Canada and then into America, because it's quite easy to go from Canada to America. They're close together.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah, they're neighbouring countries, so yeah. I do know some things about geography.
Well done.
Not much, but some.
Yeah. So, obviously, while this is all going on, the body's been found, and the police...
Just the torso?
Yeah,
let's not confuse people by saying the body, it's just the torso.
Yeah, and so clearly the police now really want to find Crippen, so obviously they get news that he's on this boat going towards Canada. So they get an even faster boat out to intercept this boat. The Walter Dew boards the boat dressed as a pilot, and Crippen was quite easy to find because apparently they were standing out slightly.
Because she was dressed as a boy.
Yeah, and he had he'd shaved his moustache off or something. Or
yeah, and then he grew his beard out.
Yeah.
So he wanted to look Amish.
Yeah. So, and he was arrested, and he was said to have said something like, "Thank God it's all over," or something. You know, the suspense has been too great. I couldn't stand it any longer. Which some people have said that kind of means he's guilty or something.
Yeah,
that he
but
knew his guilt.
how do we know that he actually said it?
Yeah, it is going on what Walter Dew said, I think.
Yeah, but Walter Dew just wanted to arrest someone.
Yeah, but also he knew he was getting chased. I don't think he obviously knew that someone was going to be after him at some point. So,
but I don't see him running as like a sign of guilt. I just think he was scared. Like, you know, when you're on the street and you see a police officer, you know that you haven't done anything wrong. Yeah. But a little part of you thinks, "Oh shit, they're after me." Yeah.
Well, this is going to come on to my first kind of theory, because it's been doubted by some people that he was the murderer. Now, I was thinking one theory could be that would explain it was that his wife could have faked her death.
Possibly.
And ran away with this Bruce Miller to America or somewhere.
I don't think she'd think that far ahead, though. I think because she cuckolded him. She didn't care about his feelings. She didn't care about what anyone thought. I think she would have just left and not given a damn, let him deal with it. Yeah.
The only reason I think she would do that is to punish him in some way, because she clearly did seem to like bullying him and stuff like that. She might, the fact that he'd taken on a mistress might have really kind of offended her, because that does happen sometimes. People who don't seem to care suddenly when husband has an affair, or when when a wife has an affair, they don't seem to always care. But then there's that one case that just makes them break sometimes.
Yeah, but I take issue with the fact, would she really have been alive and we wouldn't have found out? Because this was big news. Yeah. And she was an entertainer. She would have, she stuck at this career even though clearly she wasn't getting anywhere. If she did leave him, she probably would have carried on trying. So people would have found her at some point or recognised her at some point in seeing her in musicals. Yeah. She would still be mixing with the same types of people.
I don't know, the thing is, within the musical, there is a lot, you learn a lot about dressing up and stuff like that. So she could possibly disguised herself.
Yeah, but for the rest of her life?
Yeah. I mean, that is a kind of... Also, she was said to be quite drunk a lot of the time at this point. Would someone who's constantly that drunk, would they be able to come up with that kind of thing.
Yeah, she would not be with it. She wouldn't have been able to think that far.
But, I mean, the only reason I'm putting forward this theory is that it's something else that might explain the facts. Because there's, like, an interesting thing that there has been, like, forensic tests done on the bit of body that was found, the torso.
Yes. Should we talk about that, though? The tissue that they were testing on?
Yeah.
Because that was the main reason that he got convicted, because a physician said that it matched scar tissue from Cora's body.
Yeah.
I almost forgot her name.
It's a scar.
Even though it had hair growing from it. And scar tissue wouldn't have hair. No tissue would have hair growing on it.
Yeah, I mean, the really damning evidence, apparently, at that time was the fact that it had a scar on which you would have got having is it hysterectomy?
Or I didn't get the procedure, but I know there was scarring from a procedure, but I didn't know what procedure it was.
She'd had a hysterectomy the year before, so they said it was possible that she could have had this scar still. And so,
okay, so it wasn't even certain that she had the scar.
Yeah. I mean,
I thought it was like a certainty that she would have had the scar from an operation.
Yeah, I mean, from what I've heard, it's the fact that it's a scar that you have with a hysterectomy, and she'd had an hysterectomy a year before. Now, I don't know how these scars last.
Well, I think it varies though. Some scars last a while, some scars just fade.
Yeah, but
I've still got scars from when I was a kid.
Even so, it's not conclusive evidence. It's her.
It's really not.
It's
that's
really
the
kind of
flimsiest piece of evidence that someone could have gotten convicted over. Because they're not even certain it was scar tissue. There was hair. No, they're not even certain it was tissue. Because there was hair growing out of it. They think it was a folded over piece of like meat.
Yeah.
Human meat.
Well, I'm going to come on to the next. Some forensic scientists don't even believe it's a woman.
Yes, let's get into this.
Because they carried out forensic tests on this piece of torso, and they were linking it. They were doing some like DNA test, trying to get a link from some of her relatives, and the DNA test results came back and suggested that this wasn't the DNA of a woman, that this was a man.
No. I think they did a few sets of tests. The first test was them linking with people that she was related to, and there was no match.
Oh, right.
But then again, that wouldn't have been conclusive anyway, because the amount of generations it's gone through since she died. This was done in 2007, I think it was.
Yeah.
And then they did another set of tests, and that something to do with the Y chromosome, or it was missing. I can't remember.
Yeah.
X,
it
Y,
was just
female,
the Y chromosome,
right?
wasn't it?
Yeah, the Y chromosome was missing, or it was there, or something. I don't know.
I think it's the Y. Yeah, it's the Y chromosome was there, but the X wasn't.
Yes, so they determined that it was a male body.
Yeah.
Rather than a female.
Yeah. Now, I don't know if it's...
Aren't you glad I interrupted then, though?
Yes.
Because I corrected you before you made yourself look like a Wally.
Well, it wasn't that much for a Wally.
Yeah, that's true. None of the listeners... People that are listening are probably like us. They don't know anything.
All I really said was they said that it was a man.
You jumped a few steps then. You're supposed to be giving us detail.
Well, I'd given enough already, I think.
Okay. All right.
Anyway, let's not get on to this.
Yes, let's not. We'll argue later.
So, yeah, admittedly, some people are sceptical about this because it is relatively new, this technique, and it's only been done by this team, not by a wide range of scientists, which would give it credibility.
But then again, you couldn't, because I'm assuming it was just a little piece of tissue that was left over, and it was from 100 years ago. Well, how much could they possibly dissect without destroying it?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. You might be able to do a few tests on it, I suppose. You'd have to have more scientific knowledge to know about that. But it's a point. Also, some people like to question what you could have learned from it anyway, because it is nearly, at that point, it was nearly 100 years old.
Yeah.
So, it's going to have been maybe contaminated. Also, there's a possibility these relatives aren't actually relatives. That would create anomalies.
Yeah, like I said before, I don't even think, even if they are relatives, so many generations have gone by, how could you find, a completely positive or completely negative match?
Well,
and it wouldn't be a direct descendant either, because she didn't have children.
No, it would. They'd still expect something to show, though, because if you are related, you'd still expect something.
Yeah, but from 100 years have passed, how many generations is that?
Yeah, but it'd still show.
Okay.
I think.
Oh, and we don't even know how distantly related they are.
Yeah.
Do you know if Cora had any siblings? Were they descendants of the siblings, or are we thinking a larger family? They're cousins or
there
something?
There are cousins that exist.
Yeah, but then again, that's removing it even more.
Yeah.
So that's her cousin's descendants, not her direct descendants.
Yeah.
I don't understand how you can find conclusive proof of that.
Oh, no, it's great nieces. That's who it is.
Great nieces, so...
In the US.
Her siblings' descendants or her cousin's descendants? We still don't know.
Yeah.
It could be a second or third cousin's descendants for all we know.
Yeah. I mean, it is a bit questionable, this evidence that she might not have been... Well, the torso was not a woman but a man. But
did they actually, disclose the evidence, or did they just say that's what they found? Was it ever released to the public?
This is another problem. The results were shown on a television programme.
A television programme that has to make a narrative to make it entertaining? Is that what you're saying?
There's a showbiz element to this. It's kind of like the best way to kind of... It's kind of getting yourself known, in a way, isn't it?
Yeah. It's like... You see, a small film, they cast a major actor to get press and get money. It's sort of like that.
Yeah.
So this is a small lab or team or whatever. They're taking on this case to get funding or whatever. So they get attention from the public and the press, and they get funding for their further projects.
Yeah, pretty much. Also, a lot of this work at this stage hadn't been, peer-reviewed or anything, and that was a bit suspicious to some people. Before you do this kind of television programme, you surely want to have your work peer-reviewed and given a bit more credibility. So there's this showbiz element that they were just trying to capitalise on the whole Crippen case and make a name for themselves, basically.
It just reminds me of all the people that come out saying they know about Jack the Ripper and who he is.
Yeah.
And how they have conclusive evidence when you know they don't.
Yeah, it's like... with a lot of these kind of... particularly saying Jack the Ripper, you get so many documentaries on this, trying to...
Or the Zodiac Killer as well.
Trying to take a new angle. It's how kind of these killers, there's this kind of narrative that comes about them, and they kind of get them coming so famous. In fact, he's in Madame Tussauds, this Dr. Crippen.
I find that really cool.
Yeah.
Are Fred and Rose West in there as well?
I don't know.
Why would they have Crippen and not other people?
When was Madame Tussauds about? The actual
I don't know.
Madame Tussauds.
It's been a while.
Yeah, I think it's the fact that it gripped the attention so much at the time.
Okay.
Because, I
thought Madame Tussauds was fairly recent, 70s and 80s.
No, I think she was a bit earlier than that. Well, she had a bit of a creepy relationship with someone who used to, commission her waxworks or something. She had a bit of, she was quite a young woman when she started this. And it's getting a bit far away, though.
Yeah, should we do, a podcast on Madame Tussauds another time?
Yeah. Oh, 1761. Yeah, we're a bit far off there.
1761?
Yeah.
Wait a minute. So I thought Madame Tussauds was a real lady and she started a waxwork museum.
I don't know. I don't think she actually started off the museum. What she did was she started creating waxworks.
Okay, well, I clearly don't know much about anything.
Yeah.
Should we get back onto Chipman?
Yeah.
I'm just calling him Chipman now.
Yeah. So I've
actually named this file Dr. Chips.
Oh, have you?
I got too excited.
So yeah, to the doubters, this gives a bit of credibility in some ways, not completely.
It's very flimsy credibility, isn't it?
Yeah, but equally on the other side's just got as flimsy evidence as well in some ways.
That's true.
So I did have an idea about this, but the faking the death not necessarily. She could have faked her death, but she would need a body still. So they could have killed anyone.
Were there lodgers still in the house when this was going down?
I don't know. I don't think so. Because
it easily have been one of the lodgers that killed her, or they killed the lodger. I don't think
there was.
Oh, okay.
I know it's because the thing was, as soon as she disappeared, his mistress, Ethel, moved straight in.
Yeah, she moved straight into the house.
And was even, seen wearing his clothes. It's her clothes, not his clothes.
Well, his clothes, that's not really that shocking because of the,
the boy thing on the boat.
Yeah, the boy thing.
Yeah. Yeah, this alerted suspicions of people. I don't think there was a lodger there at the time, though. I think that would have been... I think if there had been and he had murdered her, that would take a lot of, covering up.
Unless they murdered the lodger as well.
Yeah.
What I don't understand is if he actually murdered her and disposed of most of the body, why would they bury just the torso under the house?
Yeah, because that was a famous author made that point, Raymond Chandler.
Yeah, because I understand keeping trophies of your victims, but he had all her possessions. He didn't need the body.
Yeah. Also, I mean, that is just putting it underneath the brick cellar. That is a bit. I think even for that time, it's a bit lazy. You know, people are going to look underneath there at some point.
And also, what is the time frame of the disappearance and the Jew person, what's his name, Walter Jew, looking into the disappearance? Because he would have had needed time and money and resources to build the bricks and cover everything up.
Yeah, I mean, because she disappeared in January, and this bit of torso wasn't found until, I think, June, July. So it's a good few months.
Yeah, but if Walter Jew was still looking... No, that was when it was found, but when did he start looking into it? Because they wouldn't have been able to do it after.
A few days before,
exactly.
I think it was discovered.
So, would Chipman, I keep calling him Chipman, Crippen have been dumb enough to actually do that while he was being interviewed and investigated by detectives?
Dumb enough to do that.
It would have had to been in between, but that's not a lot of time.
Yeah.
It had to be directly after he killed her, but before Walter Jew would have started investigating.
So
that's not a big time frame for him to do that.
What, put the brick floor down?
Bury the body underneath the brick floors.
Yeah.
Because he wouldn't have been... He was a fake doctor, so I don't think he would have been able to do it manually. He'd have to get someone else to do it as well. That's my assumption. I don't know him personally, but... If he can't... Yeah, he's a fake doctor. He doesn't really want to do much then, does he?
Yeah.
I don't see him doing manual labour.
I mean, it's possible that he might have stretched to that in order that someone obviously doesn't find out. If you know you've got a body to hide, I think you might be willing to do that.
Possibly. But he was seen buying drugs and things, because this torso had remains of drugs. But he wasn't seen buying bricks and all the other stuff.
Yeah, that's odd.
He would have needed to, and that would have been actually
existed. And he was
whether
it has already existed, he was able to just lay it down.
Maybe, but I don't know why, but I have a feeling that he didn't.
Yeah.
And if he had actually bought it, he was spotted buying drugs, which would make sense because he was a fake doctor.
Yeah.
But he wasn't spotted buying all the other things he would have needed to cover it up.
Yeah.
Which is why I don't think the torso belongs to her.
Yeah. Also, I mean, this is going back to my faking her death theory. If she wanted to do that, they could have killed someone else, and that could explain why... I mean, it could have been a man they killed, so it would explain why there's someone else's torso underneath there.
That's true, and that would explain why they cut off the head and the other limbs.
Yeah,
and they just left the torso.
Going back to that point of why because that Raymond Chandler was saying he'd managed to get rid of the rest of the corpse really well. Why didn't he just put the rest of the torso with the rest of that?
Exactly. So I think either he was set up, or it was from before.
Someone has put forward the theory that it may have been placed there by the police, who were keen to get this sorted out quickly, apparently, according to him.
But I don't understand that, because there was no guarantee that she was dead in the first place. So why put a torso there? They made it a murder case rather than a disappearance.
Yeah.
That made it worse.
Yeah.
In my eyes, that would have made it worse, because they could have easily just hushed it up by saying, oh, yeah, we found her, she's living here. That would have been a way to cover it up. But actually, putting a torso there, they've just publicised the shit out of it and made it a murder case.
Yeah, I'm not sure... This guy thinks that actually, no, does he? Yeah, he thinks they planted the body parts, but also the pyjama top, because that was one of the crucial elements that got Crippen convicted.
What was up with the pyjama top? Because a pyjama top would be in his house.
No, it's not. It's the fact that his defence at his trial was that pyjama top, the body had been placed there before he moved there in 1905. The problem with the pyjama top is that it was the company that made it had only started putting limited on since he'd moved into the house. So that was seen to be quite damning.
No, I still don't understand. What has the pyjama top got to do with this?
Well, this pyjama top was found, with the body.
With the body?
Yeah.
Oh, so it was buried underneath with the body?
Yeah.
Oh,
and there was
okay. I didn't realise that.
Yeah, there was also a curler that had her hair in, apparently. I mean, how we
So he
know.
buried... Wait, so he's smart enough to get rid of all the other limbs, but he buried her with his pyjama top and her hair curlers.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I do smell cover-up now, or set-up.
Yeah. However, someone did make the point in the fact... one thing that the people talking about, like, public pressure to get this case kind of found out because of how heinous it was, because the fact that just the torso was found. But someone did point out the fact that this case did not come public until after the remains were found.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Why would the police do that?
Yeah, why would the police
So if he was set up, it probably wasn't the police that set him up.
Yeah.
And what would they have to gain from doing that?
I mean, because some people think the fact that Walter Dew had been involved in the Ripper murders meant that he was keen to get this sorted out. So...
yeah. Because he failed the Ripper murders.
Yeah. I mean, he was only a detective constable at the time, so I don't know how... I mean, because he claims to have seen one of the bodies of the Ripper murders straight there and then. But I don't know what power detective constable has, because it's not chief inspector.
No, it's the detective inspector, and then their delegates are the detective constables, right?
Yeah. So I don't know how much personal responsibility he would have taken over the whole Ripper kind of murders.
Well, they all work on the case.
Yeah, but I would expect...
And he was linked to it, so
yeah.
it might not be personal responsibility, but it's
the public would have felt...
Public's perception is that he was responsible for this man going free, this murderer going free.
Yeah. What's also interesting is this chief inspector did think Crippen at first was innocent. He was quite convinced by Crippen's story.
And then Crippen took off.
Yeah, so clearly he's got a good reason to want to find him.
But then again, like I said before, sometimes you just get scared and you bolt.
Yeah. Also, if you were being framed and you knew it, you wouldn't just hang around, would you? Kind of hope you get found innocent.
Yeah, because if you went to the police saying, oh, this lady is going to frame me for her murder, they'd just think you're crazy or you're covering your tracks.
Yeah.
Like, I know it's supposed to be innocent until proven guilty, but it feels like the police, they think of you as guilty and you have to prove yourself innocent.
Yeah.
That's my perception. I've never really been arrested, so I don't actually know if that's true.
Yeah, I mean...
You've been arrested plenty of times, so you could give us some insight on that.
Shut up. Yeah, I don't know, because police are always pretty keen just to get it sorted out, I think, most of the time.
Yeah, they don't want open cases for too long.
Kind of evidence that makes them think it's someone, they're going to pursue that like hell, I think.
Yeah.
So that's where, also, the forensic evidence, I mean, at the time it was considered quite new and quite bold. But nowadays, it certainly wouldn't get that wouldn't get you anywhere.
No, it wouldn't. He wouldn't have been convicted if it happened in 2015.
Not on that evidence, it should be said. If we had...
not on that evidence.
Because the problem is, no actual kind of thing at the time was done to check whether it's male or female.
Well, I guess there was no way to check whether it was male or female, because forensic science has just started around that time.
Well, yeah, but that's a point to make.
And
these days,
pardon?
These days that there would be something done to make sure it is male or female.
Oh yeah, they wouldn't confirm the identity of a body until they were certain.
Yeah.
Whether if they got a positive ID or they put it through rigorous testing.
The police.
There's no way they would have said, "Oh, this body is someone."
Yeah, because the police.
To be honest, I say that, but it's happened, hasn't it? Yeah. They've mistaken dead bodies for other people.
Yeah, I mean that happened. But like the police, because the police in 1910, they just assumed it was her.
Yeah, because it was her house. She was missing.
Yeah. I mean, I know it does seem a bit... It's all quite coincidental. That probably is a bit damning for Crippen. But there are other explanations. You can't just go on, coincidences.
But that is how people got convicted back then.
Yeah, true.
I mean, I know we bitched and moaned about how long the... the conviction process takes now. At least they try and make sure that the person is actually guilty first.
At least it's a bit more rigorous.
Yeah, so many people got the death penalty and were hanged that were innocent back then. So it's sort of good. Yes, it's a waste of taxpayers' money, and sometimes you just want to see these ruthless people get killed because that would mean they're off the planet and we don't have to deal with them anymore. But at least you're certain that they're guilty.
Yeah. I mean, with Crippen, there's just these days, it is kind of debatable whether he'd be found guilty.
I don't think he would have been. I would say it's inconclusive. I mean, sure, you've got the pyjamas, but you don't have the positive ID on the body.
Yeah.
And the body, we don't know how far decomposed it was, do we? So we don't know how old it was, because I think it had been buried in a preservative as well.
Well, this is an interesting thing. It wasn't done deliberately. It was kept in a preservative. It was, or will they say, a murderer who'd want to cover up his tracks would put it in lime. But I don't know if he put it with lime and water, because there's a thing.
Yeah, and that would make it a preservative. Right. But again, he may have just been a homeopathic doctor, but he knew about materials and things.
Yeah.
Would he have got that wrong?
Possibly.
Really?
Well, my point is, another thing I'd say is, he was a homeopathic doctor. How much does that involve kind of surgery and stuff like that? Because I was thinking cutting up a body, if he was a surgeon, that would give it a bit more credibility.
Yeah, but we don't know if it was a clean cut. He could have just been hacking at it with a saw. We don't know.
True.
We don't know because that information wasn't released. We don't know if it was clean cutting surgically.
Yeah. But it does, it's a point, how much would a homeopathic doctor know about cutting up a body? I mean, that would be something to possibly
to be honest, it's dead, so you don't have to be careful.
True, but there's still ways of doing it. There are, because aren't there ways where you can do it where it produce less blood or something like that?
I thought that you could do that just by draining the body first.
Yeah, you've done that. Right?
The thing is, with doctors, they have to have a knowledge of the human body.
Yeah.
Even dentists, they have to know about the human body.
Yeah. Well, that's another, because the body was filleted as well, wasn't it?
Was it?
Yeah, all the bones had been taken out. So that's kind of...
Why would you bother doing that? He's killed... Okay, the reason, if he killed her, it was obviously to move Ethel into the house so they could live as a married couple.
Yeah.
So why would he bother doing any of this stuff? Why would he keep the torso? Why would he take the bones out?
Yeah.
Why would he bury the torso with the hair curlers and his shirt?
Yeah, it really doesn't make sense to me, that bit.
It doesn't. It smells set up, but I don't think it was by the police.
Yeah.
Maybe it was one of the lodgers. We don't know. Maybe it was one of the lodgers that Cora was sleeping with, and Crippen kicked them out. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe it was the lodger that did it, and he left.
Yeah, I think the fact that his wife was never found does possibly give a bit of credibility to the fact that it might be her. But there are other ways of explaining that. I mean, going back, it's my theory of faking her death.
Yeah.
You know?
I think if she faked her death, there was so much publicity around it, I think she would have been found.
Yeah, I think she would have wanted the publicity as well. You know?
Yeah, because she lived for that shit.
Yeah. So, yeah.
She was probably dead.
I don't really believe in my faking death theory, but I think it's a possibility. It could explain some of the facts.
Do we know if Crippen actually told any of his side of the story, or did he just say that she ran off with a thingy? Is that all he ever said? She ran off with another man to America.
That's all he said to friends. But he did apparently. Ethel and Eve later, apparently, this is very apparently, told someone that he'd killed his wife because she had syphilis or something like that.
Oh yeah, I heard that as well.
Whether you do that, I'm not sure.
But it's just, I feel like if he got arrested and he did do it, his story would change. Especially the closer it got to his hanging date, it would change.
Yeah.
But as far as I can tell, that was the last story he told.
Yeah.
So I'm inclined to believe that he didn't do it because he didn't know.
Yeah.
I have a feeling it was one of these, because she had affairs with loads of people. I have a feeling it might have been one of these people, and they set the husband up.
Yeah.
That's my thinking of it, and he probably didn't know.
Yeah, it's quite possible what motivation this person would have, though, to kill her. I'm not entirely sure.
I don't know, maybe she wanted to break it off with him or something. Maybe she was jealous of Ethel and Crippen going at it, and she wanted her husband back, like you said before.
Yeah.
She was jealous about their relationship.
It could have been, because... this is getting slightly personal, but some people were saying that she was starting to look a bit old and stuff like that. And obviously drinking, that's not going to do much for your look.
Yeah, that ages you so badly.
So maybe for her, the affairs might have been drying up.
Oh, maybe.
And he was clearly, he had this mistress. Maybe she was jealous.
Maybe it was Ethel that did it and Crippen covered up.
Well, that's what I was thinking. Because Ethel got away pretty scot-free because...
Yeah, and he wanted to protect Ethel. That was the main thing during his trial. He just didn't want any of the blame to go on Ethel.
Because they always said that Ethel was blinded by love with her, like, following Crippen.
Yeah, but maybe it was the other way around.
Yeah, maybe he was blinded by the love and kind of just wanted to do everything for her.
Yeah,
and
maybe.
I mean, she could have, like, sowed the seed in his mind to kill her. Because I don't know whether she'd kill personally, but she could easily get him to do it, possibly.
Possibly.
I
don't think she would have been a typist. I don't think she would have been able to gut a body and get rid of most of the parts and bury it in bricks.
My only one problem with that, I mean, he wasn't exactly... I mean, yeah, he was a homeopathic doctor, but it's not a particularly real doctor. I mean, what kind of position would that
I hope none of our listeners are homeopathic doctors.
I hope they aren't.
Because then we would lose them so quickly.
They can go somewhere else. He doesn't bring across much position, does it? He didn't have loads of money, didn't have much position. I know that sounds a bit... What reason would she have to be so desperately want to be married to him that she'd be willing to kill?
Well,
other than
maybe
love?
he was
If she was
supportive,
really in
'cause,
love,
like,
I can understand that, possibly. Yeah. But I can't see it as being, like, scheming in that way, because it's not exactly... I mean, it depends on how possibly poor she was.
Maybe the love turned her insane. It happens. Love makes you do stupid things.
It's possible. I mean, also because I think the fact... She got away pretty scot-free because people did have a bit of a kind of, like, dim view of women at the time.
Yeah, they did.
They just wouldn't
Women
believe
got away
that
with
she
so
was...
much.
She would be able to be capable of actually being guilty in a way.
Yeah, but that still happens. Like, you see women and men that commit the same crimes, but women get the lighter sentence.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm all for feminism, but feminism for me is equal rights.
Yeah.
So if you're at the same level as a man, whether good or bad, you get treated the same way.
Yeah. I mean, there's also a point that, like, Crippen... I mean, these days, he could possibly even claim, like, kind of abuse from the wife.
Yeah, you could,
I think
but not back then. You couldn't do that because...
his wife. That really turned the public against him, because wife murdering... I mean, it should always be held rather dimly. But, like, these days, you might have, like, a possible argument that is abuse, and that probably turned him to kind of murder her, or something like that.
Yeah. But even now, people wouldn't buy it. A jury wouldn't buy it.
Not off a man,
It's because... Yeah, exactly, because of the way people feel about women.
Yeah.
They think they're innocent beings and they're weaker and they can't do certain things. They're not capable of certain things. But you know what? There are some pretty horrible women in the world. And dangerous women in the world at that.
I mean, yeah, you'd hope we'd be able to tell, but you can't always tell that, can you? So...
No, you can't, because some play innocent. You've seen it.
Yeah.
Because there are genuinely some women that are abusive towards the men in their life, and they get away with it because they're the women. They just play innocent.
Yeah. I'm not sure if there's any more, like, theories to put forward, actually.
I don't think there's really much more to say. It's either he did it or he didn't.
Yeah. The only other point I would put forward is, like, the forensic evidence. Also, he was quite new, this guy. So, you know, this was, like, his first proper big case. So he would have been desperate to prove something as well. So might he have been a bit suspicious as well?
Perhaps. But, like, is there any information on the other cases that he's had?
Well, he went on to have quite a famous career. But,
did he?
Yeah. But this...
But was there ever any controversy around any of his cases regarding the forensic evidence?
I don't think so, but
so this is the only
quick
one?
look just so we know.
Yeah. Well, so
there's one, I think, possibly.
Well, that's 2 out of a whole career. I don't think that's much, really.
Yeah, but apparently there's questions over his objectivity, so I don't know what that...
As in, he wanted to see something, so he proved that with his forensic evidence.
Yeah.
But 2 cases out of a whole career, I don't think that would say that you're corrupt or something. Well, he was
involved in a lot of cases. But
yeah, I know, but 2 questionable cases in his whole career. So the Crippen one and that one where he's objective something.
He was involved in one of the, Bright in the Bath murder.
Yeah.
He was involved in that.
Okay, so they trotted him out to high-profile cases. Yeah. So clearly they must have trusted him, or either they trusted him or they trusted him to prove what they wanted him to prove.
Yeah.
So again, we have no answer for this.
It's important to also there were actually a lot of forensic scientists who disputed his findings at the time.
Yeah, I know.
Not just later on.
Because it was not scar tissue.
Yeah.
We've discovered this. There was hair on it. Yeah. If there's hair on it, it's not tissue.
Yeah. Also, Crippen wasn't defended that well because he chose a pretty poor defence lawyer as well. And so had he had a better defence lawyer... Also, the prosecution lawyer was known to be quite good at his job. So that does it does seem like Crippen
drew the short end of the stick.
Yeah.
So, listeners, you've learnt that Crippen either did it or he didn't.
Well, do we actually have any verdict?
I don't quite know. I don't think he did it.
I'm not
I think he was set up.
I'm not convinced.
I just don't think he'd be that stupid.
Yeah.
Sure, he's not a real doctor, but come on, burying a body underneath your house and leaving your pyjamas with it. That screams set up to me.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's my conspiracy theory mind, but I don't think anyone would do. No one would be stupid enough to do that. I mean, unless you're panicked and it's in the moment, but clearly it wasn't because he killed her and then moved her and then buried her. So it wasn't in the moment.
Yeah.
He thought that through.
I suppose some people do make mistakes.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. That's usually in the heat of the moment, not if it's premeditated. So if she was buried under the house, he clearly already killed her and then decided to move her and bury her.
Yeah, also...
So that he thought it out.
He doesn't seem exactly like the kind of killer that would keep trophies.
No.
Don't we
and even if he did, he's got all of her
serial
items with him.
And stuff like that.
Yeah, but there's no evidence of him killing anyone else.
Yeah. There's also the point of the fact that he was so kind of like mild-mannered.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. He seemed like a good husband up until the affair point. Like, he was subservient to her. He would sort of cater to her every need.
Yeah.
Well, not every need, all her flimsy dreams. So he did seem like a good husband until, like, you know, the affair and the possible murder bit.
It does, like, happen, I suppose. But it's still...
Some people just break.
Yeah.
Yeah, some mild-mannered people, they're probably the worst. They take all the shit and then one day they just can't take it anymore and they snap.
It might explain how he was so brutal, in a way, if that's what happened.
Possibly.
Yeah, so we're sceptical. At least that's what we'll
But
say.
then again, he was a good husband before. I understand that he could break, but I think he would fold afterwards. He'd probably give himself in.
Yeah.
Because clearly he loved her at some point. The love might have gone, or he might have fallen in love with Ethel, but he did love her enough to be married to her for, 14, 15 years.
I mean, he lost his job over her, so...
Yeah, he lost his job over her. He gave up everything for her.
So essentially we think he's a good guy, mainly.
Yeah, I don't think he killed her. I really don't.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think much of the evidence that came around in 2007 with her not being the torso not even being female, because I think that evidence that isn't really proven either.
Oh, we forgot one big theory, didn't we?
Or did we?
The fact that he might have been an abortionist.
I didn't know this theory.
Yeah, there's a theory that he's an abortionist, and that might explain why it's another body.
That's true, but then why would he keep it?
Yeah.
That's, again, we've still got the thing, why would he get rid of the rest of the body and keep that part?
Yeah. Well, also the fact that if it had an hysterectomy scar...
Yeah, there wouldn't be an abortion there.
Yeah.
But then again, we've already said the tissue thing is bullshit.
Yeah. But also, it's the fact that if it is, if the new evidence that it's a man, that doesn't explain that.
Yeah, that's true.
So
basically, we're saying the evidence way back in 1910 is rubbish. The evidence that we've discovered in 2007, 2011, also rubbish.
Yeah.
So we have no idea what happened, but...
Yeah. Well, there's one more theory I'll put forward really quickly. One theory is that the drug he was using was a calming thing, so it acts as like a depressant. So that would make her miserable. That doesn't make sense to me. But it's this theory that he gave her an overdose
of depressants.
Yeah, by accident. So he kind of panicked. But then they said some kind of drug was found on her, and that was meant to be like a calming drug.
So he could have easily just called the police and said, oh, she did it, she overdosed, she's an alcoholic.
Yeah.
She mixed up her meds.
But also, would you keep the bit of torso that would end up having that bit of drug on it?
No.
That doesn't make sense to me.
The whole thing doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
I don't think he murdered her. I think it was a setup.
Yeah.
My theory is that a lodger did it, or one of her previous lovers did it, and framed him for the murder. Because it was easy. It would have been easy to frame him for the murder. And that, either that or Ethel, because he seemed madly in love with Ethel.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think faking a death's rather remote, but it is a possibility.
I don't think she did, because I think it would have come out. She would have been discovered. Yeah,
I'm not sure she would be able to take having the publicity, but not it being her known.
Yeah,
that it was her that had faked it.
She would have at least come out after he was hanged.
Yeah.
Say, hey, I'm still alive, actually.
Yeah, so I'm not convinced by my own theory.
I think it's a lodger or Ethel.
Yeah.
Well, a lover. So either Ethel or one of Cora's lovers.
I do think it would have to be someone, I suppose, relatively clever. So it would have to depend on who this lover was.
Yeah, but we don't really know much about the lovers. All we know that she had a shit ton. She had lots of lovers.
It could have been anyone. I mean, it could have even been someone in the musical scene.
I think she probably just gets off with everyone. She got off with a lodger that was living in the house with her and her husband, for crying out loud. She didn't seem like much of a... Yeah, she seemed like a horrible woman.
So, yeah, apparently she made it that Crippen bring them, like, tea and biscuits as well. Like,
yeah, she seems like a major bitch.
Yeah.
So, you know what? If Crippen did kill her...
Good.
I sort of understand. I actually understand why he would do it.
Yeah.
So, if he did do it, well, okay. She was like a horrible woman.
Yeah. I mean, you'd be hard-pressed not to kill her.
Yeah, I probably would have killed her, like, long before I hit the 15-year mark.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how he could have put up with it for that long.
Yeah.
So, what we're saying is that we don't think Crippen did it, but if he did, it makes sense.
Yeah, pretty much.
Alright, so...
we advocate murder, really. If
yeah, we
really
advocate murder if the woman's a bitch.
Yeah.
Because I believe in equal rights, but if a woman's a bitch, then a woman's a bitch.
Yeah.
I think we should sign off then.
Pretty much.
It's been an hour, over an hour, man, that we've been
I
recording.
suppose we got this much out of it. I thought we might.
Yeah, I know. I thought it was going to be a short one.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know much about it, other than he may have killed this woman.
Well, I suppose it's got something to talk about, hasn't it? And the fact that it's disputed.
Yeah, we've got all the theories.
Yeah.
So, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope we didn't put you to sleep or anything. Yeah. I hope you didn't miss any of the Nazi and the pedo jokes, but we're trying to be smarter and be more, mature.
If you do want those, tell us, and we'll just do a whole episode on Nazis and paedophiles.
Yeah. Oh, and I'd also like to say, the Facebook tray will make an appearance again at some point.
When we
have some fans that enjoy the Facebook tray.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Matt, I'll pass you on something from the Facebook tray later.
Okay.
A video, a snuff movie.
I'll be sure to watch it.
Yeah, a snuff movie. I'm sure you're the one that filmed it.
Really?
Yeah. So. All right. So, should we say goodbye?
Yep.
All right. Bye, people. We'll be back next week for baby farming. All right.
What, literally baby farming?
No, I was just saying that. I don't really want to do a podcast on baby farming.
No, I meant literally kind of our experience of baby farming.
I've never baby farmed in my life.